Integers and absolute values. Integers are positive and negative whole numbers. It does include 0. So it could be shown something like this, where you see these to indicate that it can go on till infinity on both directions, to negative infinity and positive infinity. Now, whole numbers that are positive can be considered positive integers, and negative numbers are called negative integers. Often things can be thought of as integers as temperature. Temperature can get cold enough that we can record them as negative integers. In the morning when you start the car, the temperature reads to be negative 10 degrees, which is negative integers. Then, by afternoon, the car reads the temperature to be positive 10, which are positive integers. What does this change mathematically look like? So, for this, we would start at negative 10, and then we go and we notice we have a number line, and they're in increments of 5. So anytime you go up 5, you can just think of positive 5. And then we go from 5 to 0, so that's then 10, 0 to 5, 15, and then lastly 20. So you can think of this as a positive 20 increase in temperature. But what happens if we go down? So let's look at another example. In the afternoon, the temperature reads to be 25 degrees Fahrenheit. And then in the evening, the temperature is now 10 degrees. What does this change mathematically look like? So this time, instead of going to the right, we're going to go to the left. So we start at 25, which is right here. I'm going to go to the left 5 in increments. So we go down 5, so that's 5 degrees. Then we go down another 5, so that's 10. And then we go down another to 15 until we stop at 10 degrees. So mathematically, it looks like a negative 15 decrease in temperature. So now let's go on and talk about absolute values. An absolute value states that the number of units or distance that it takes to move from one spot to another spot on a number line. An absolute value is always positive. An absolute value symbol can be represented like this with 2 bars and a number in between. Right now we're just going to put a question mark because we don't know the number. It's just a generic symbol. So let's look at example 3 now. If the temperature reads to be 75 degrees in the morning and in the afternoon it's 95, what is this absolute value of this change? So let's go ahead and do the absolute value. And so we can go 95 minus 75. We'll close that absolute value. So 95 minus 75 is equal to 20. And anything in the absolute value like this, any number, even if it's negative, will become positive. So we can just write 20. And that is the absolute value of this change. If the temperature reads 75 degrees in the afternoon and 55 degrees by night, what is the absolute value of this change? So for this, we would have an absolute value sign, and we're going to start with the 55 because that's what we end with. So we have 55 minus 75. Now 55 minus 75. We notice we have a larger negative number because of this minus 75. So we would get negative 20 inside the absolute value sign. But because it's in the absolute value sign, it then becomes just 20. So the absolute value of this change is just 20.